Good afternoon, everyone. In this week's Parshas Pinchus, we discussed the leadership being transferred over from Moshe Rabbeinu to Yeshua. So it tells us that Hashem tells Moshe the instructions about how this procedure will take place. So the Pasuk tells us that you should take Yeshua. So it describes Yeshua as a man who had the Spirit of God in him. You shall lean your hands upon him. Then the Torah tells us in Pasuk Kaf, in verse 20, when Asata meholcha Allah, you shall place of your splendor upon him, Laman Yishmu Chadas B'nai Israel, so that the entire assembly of the children of Israel will pay heed, will listen to what Yeshua, the new leader, will teach the Klal Yisrael, the B'nai Israel, the Jewish people. So the Gemara, the tractate Baba Basra, tells us, based on the verse, it says, "V'nasata meholcha Allah, you shall place of your splendor, from your splendor, but not the whole splendor." It doesn't say, "Hey, you shall give your splendor over." Meholcha, from your splendor, that he didn't give over everything. Yeshua was not Moshe Rabbeinu. The leader is the leader, and the student, although he becomes the new leader, is not necessarily as big as the previous leader. That's the way it is. That's, as the generations go, it's happening. If you enjoy my videos, you should listen to my mentor's videos. I'm sure you'll enjoy them even more. Okay? So, the Gemara, Rashi brings the Gemara that explains this a little bit further. It gives an analysis, an example. Pnei Moshe kechama, Moshe's face was like the sun. Pnei Yeshua, kalavana, Yeshua's face was like the moon. That is the Gemara. Then the Gemara says that when the Zakanim heard this, they added something, which is what I want to speak about for a second. They added that the Zakanim said, "Woe to the embarrassment," the double lashon, oila busha, oila kalima, the double expression of the embarrassment that of this idea of Yeshua being not as great as Moshe, that unfortunately we're not going to have Moshe anymore. We're going to be stuck with Yeshua. Very strange statement. What do they mean by saying that? What does the Canaan mean by saying oila busha, oila kalima? So the Chidah says something very interesting. Yeshua, the Medrash tells us, merited to become the successor of Moshe Rabbeinu, not because he was such a great scholar, I'm sure he was, but the reason is because he cleaned up the base Medrash, and he did all the menial tasks that the other Talmidim, like the Zakanim, that they didn't do. Okay? The Zakanim. It says in the Mishnah, Pirkei Avos, the first Mishnah, right, that Moshe gave over the Torah to Yeshua is a Zakanim. It doesn't say, okay, and then it's Canaan to the Nevi'im. So Yeshua was the one who was the replacement, not the Zakanim. Okay? So the Zakanim didn't get that stellar, that job. Yeshua got it. Why did Yeshua get not Zakanim? Although Yeshua was not as great as the scholar, he was called Yeshua. He didn't get the title of Zakanim, the elders. Okay? Which is a lashon, which is an expression of chashivus. No, the old man. No, Zakanim. Elderly means elderly in Torah, more years of Torah. So they were greater than Yeshua in Torah. But yet, Yeshua became the leader. Why? Because he cleaned up the Beis Medrash. He did the menial tasks. He threw away the dirty tissues. He did the things that nobody else wanted to do. So that's the Chidah, a cute shot. I'm actually in a Sephardi apartment now, so it's good to say over something from the Chidah. Any pictures of the Chidah here? Okay. I'll take a Chacham Avaja and then I'll be okay. Oh, look at that. So the Chidah says a beautiful shot. Chidah says, what were they saying? Woe to the embarrassment? Woe to the embarrassment. Oh, look. We should have realized that we should have done the things that would make us embarrassed, and then we become the leader. Woe to the embarrassment they were saying about themselves, that they should have realized the importance of cleaning up the Beis Medrash and being a shamus, being the sexton, the rabbi of the shul, and then maybe they would become what Yeshua became. So that was the embarrassment, that they should have realized that was more important than they realized at the time, and then they could have been Yehoshua. That's the Chidas Pshat. The Kotzker Rebbe says the beautiful Pshat. Very, very different than the first Pshat. This is the great Geshmak Kotzker. After the Gemara says the description that Moshe was like the sun and Yeshua was like the moon, they said, woe to the embarrassment. Woe to the embarrassment that people are comparing Gedolim. Our job is not to compare Gedolim. So when the Zakanim heard the description that Yeshua was not as great as Moshe, he said, woe to the embarrassment that people described Yeshua in a negative way. We know he wasn't as great as Moshe. By definition, the generations decreased. But there's no reason to talk negatively about Yeshua. So woe is to the embarrassment they were saying about the whole idea about people comparing Gedolim. That was the embarrassment. So obviously we learned from the Kotzker Rebbe this idea of only talking positive things about people. And Shabbat Shalom.